Okay, so this is Darrin, and he's actually a fourth generation
Correct.
well driller, and we just drilled for water on the property here. So Darrin, tell us a little bit, how far did we have to go?
The well today that we started at, we went down 48 feet. It was 28 feet to the bedrock, and we had to put the steel casing down to the top of the bedrock. And we hit the water 28 to 30 feet, somewhere in that range, near the top of the bedrock, and went down to 48 for reservoir. Now, the water that we do have, we have 4 gallons a minute, and that should take care of a residential house without a problem, without any concerns. It's kind of interesting, this point, you don't know when you're drilling what type of overburden you're going to have above the rock. Sometimes these points along Lake Ontario have sand as the base, and some have clay, and this one had about 10 feet of sand, and it changed over to clay and to hard pan until we got to the bedrock at, again, 28 feet. It's interesting. Back 20 years ago or so, I drilled for one of the homes over on the point to the left, which is called Pine Grove, and that well there, we ended up getting a gravel well somewhere around 47 feet, and it was a sand-based point instead of a clay-based point.
Oh.
So it's just interesting to see how the ground changes from one place to another.
And so once you hit where you thought water was, how far down did you go past that?
We ended up going 18 feet below the vein because we only had 4 gallons a minute, which is plenty for a house, but you still have to have a certain amount of reservoir within the well to balance out the ratio between the amount of reservoir compared to the flow and how quickly it recovers into the well. If we'd have had, say, 10, 15 gallons a minute, we wouldn't have needed to go as many feet because that would keep up with what the pump is capable of pumping out of the well.
Right.
It was a relatively easy well. I mean, we faced a few boulders, a few different things above the bedrock, but nothing that you're not used to handling as a well driller because you just deal with what the ground gives you, and at times it's just, you just never know what's going to be there.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm just amazed, with my engineering background and stuff, but the amount of math involved in what you do and the technicality, it's like you guys are really good, I'm telling you. I was really impressed with, there's so much going on and you're just managing it all. It was pretty neat to watch.
Well, thank you. There's a lot to it. Running the machine is not the complicated part. It's being able to sense and to realize what you're drilling in and what steps you need to take to make sure that the well is clean, that you have your casing where it needs to be, and to just make it so that you don't have to come back and to fix something that you didn't do right in the first place.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with how you kept looking. You had the shovel there, and whatever rock or whatever was coming out, you'd look at what it was to know what you were drilling through. I often wondered how you could figure that out.
Yeah, in this well today we had a ledge that either was the start of the bedrock or a boulder at 25 feet. And we thought when we hit it that it was the rock, but it ended up not being rock. We needed to, well, as I was drilling with my rock hammer, it went hard for about 8 inches and then it softened up and it actually went back into clay. If I hadn't been paying attention to it, then when it went back into rock at 28 feet, we would have had problems with the well being dirty, and we had to ultimately come back up and drive casing down to the point of where it was sealed into the bedrock so that we would have a clean well.
Wow.
And again, it's just things that you fight, and you just have to, you can't sleepwalk through it. You have to pay attention to what's going on and to deal with it in a way that you just don't make mistakes. You got to be
a lot
watching.
Of knowledge and years of experience.
It is, and it actually keeps the job interesting.
Yeah.
If they were all the same and you're just putting holes in the ground, that would get to the point where it wouldn't be very fun.
Well, I really appreciate you took the time throughout the process to explain to me what you were doing, because I thought it was really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's, again, another thing that helps make the job interesting when you're dealing with the customer and explaining to them and helping them to know what is going on. And that in itself is good for many reasons. I mean, just to make your customer happy and for them to understand just helps them to be able to trust you and appreciate what you do. Sometimes the people that appreciate you the least are the ones that you come in and do the job quickly and they're not around and you leave and just like, oh, it was easy. Well, it's never easy, but it's still part of what we enjoy doing.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.